When Frank Butler challenged local marksmen to a shootout as part of his traveling variety show in Cincinnati, Ohio, he didn't expect to be answered by a 5-foot-tall 15-year-old girl named Annie. In an unforgettable moment, she beat him easily, earning the prize money and his heart. Taken by surprise and immediately struck, Butler soon began courting her. The two fell in love and spent a lifetime touring the world. The couple not only starred in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, but also exemplified a mutual support system. While Oakley dazzled audiences with her extraordinary marksmanship, Butler managed the business side of the act. One of Butler's roles was to throw glass balls in the air for Annie Oakley to shoot, including in an 1894 Edison film of Oakley. Annie passed away on November 3, 1926. As one biographer reported, Butler stopped eating after his wife's death, leading to his own death from malnutrition and starvation 18 days later. Their marriage lasted for 50 years, being celebrated as one of the most heartwarming and enduring partnerships of the Old West. In contrast to the well-documented Oakley-Butler tale, stands the enigmatic relationship between Harry Longabaugh, the Sundance Kid, and his elusive companion, Etta Place. In the late 1800s, Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, and their Wild Bunch gang went on the longest crime spree in American history, robbing trains and banks while successfully eluding the famed Pinkerton Detective Agency. When the gang split, one woman remained loyal, Ethel Etta Place. Little is known about Etta. Rumors swirled that she worked as a teacher or a prostitute, but she was the Sundance Kid's devoted companion, and some historical reports state she was the gang's lookout during the heists while holding the getaway horses. For a while, she lived on a ranch in Argentina with Butch and Sundance, traveled to Europe, and visited family in the US. Before the trio became restless and resumed a life of crime throughout South America. Etta's death is as mysterious as her birth, but certainly not lacking in guess. From a dramatic end in Bolivia's final shootout, to living out her life alone in San Francisco, to faking her death and marrying a wealthy rancher in Paraguay. Only one thing is certain: we'll never know. Among the many legends of the Old West, the rumored romance between Calamity Jane and Wild Bill Hickok stands out for its blend of myth and mystery. They first met on a wagon train bound for Deadwood, Wyoming in 1876. Jane claimed in her autobiography that she was married to Hickok and had divorced him so he could be free to marry Agnes Lake, but no records that support her account have been found. Although the exact nature of their bond remained questionable during their colorful lives, Jane's devotion was made clear with her final request. She was laid to rest beside Bill in Mount Moriah Cemetery in 1903. Popular culture has long linked the tough, independent frontierswoman Calamity Jane with the charismatic lawman and gunfighter Wild Bill Hickok. This relationship has been retold in countless books, films, and stage productions, embodying the fierce independence and raw passion that many associate with life on the frontier. In the rugged Wild West of the 1870s, the volatile romance between Doc Holliday and Big Nose Kate became legendary. Doc Holliday, born John Henry Holliday, was a brilliant dentist who turned to gambling and gunfights after contracting tuberculosis. His life was defined by high-stakes poker games and dangerous brawls, making him both admired and feared. Big Nose Kate, born Mary Catherine Horany in Hungary, transformed from a well-educated young woman into a tough brothel worker in Fort Griffin, Texas. Their fateful meeting in 1877 sparked an intense, unpredictable relationship. Fueled by passion and rebellion, the two fought regularly and sometimes violently, but made up after fights despite the volatile relationship. When Doc was arrested after a violent dispute during a poker game, Kate took a daring act by igniting a nearby shed to distract a lynch mob and breaking into the jail to rescue him. This act symbolized her fierce loyalty and independent spirit. They tried a quieter life in Dodge City, but their fiery tempers and tumultuous past proved too strong to overcome. Their relationship ultimately unraveled, and while Kate remarried, Doc spent his final years fighting both his illness and inner demons. Their love story remains one of the most legendary, representing the raw, uncontrollable emotions of the West's brutality and romance. Jesse James is often remembered not only for his bank and train robberies, but also for his long controversial relationship with Zerelda Amanda Mims. Zerelda was the first cousin of Jesse James. Z, as she was more familiarly called, was actually named for Jesse's mother. This, however, did not stop the pair from falling in love, while Jesse was living temporarily with his aunt and uncle in Missouri, 1865. The couple was engaged for 9 years, while the James Younger gang was in full swing. Finally, they married at her sister's home on April the 24th, 1874. They had 4 children in the following years, with only 2 surviving infancy. While James Younger gang had ceased to exist, Jesse had started a new James gang that continued to rob trains, the last of which occurred on September 7th, 1881. Z tried to get Jesse to take on a more normal life, and Jesse agreed right after one last great bank robbery in Platte County, Missouri. During the planning of a robbery in a meeting with Charles and Robert Bob Ford at Jesse's home, Jesse was killed by Bob on April 3, 1882. Z's steadfast presence, even nursing Jesse's wounds and enduring the hardships of outlaw life, has been widely noted in popular accounts. Her later years were marked by financial struggles and a life that has become a poignant counterpoint to the rugged legend of her husband. There was no falling madly in love and starting life in happiness for young Sacagawea. She was sold to fur trader Toussaint as his second wife, but they made a life together and history. At age 12, Sacagawea was on a buffalo hunt with her Shoshone tribe members when enemy Hidatsa warriors kidnapped her. She lived among the Hidatsa for a few years until they sold her to Toussaint Charbonneau, who was more than 20 years older than her. Meanwhile, Lewis and Clark started their famous expedition in search of the Northwest Passage, and Charbonneau joined the expedition as an interpreter after being recruited in 1804, and his young Shoshone wife, Sacagawea, accompanied him. But Sacagawea proved the most useful to the expedition, as she was knowledgeable about food sources and the Yellowstone area. In 1705, Sacagawea gave birth to their son, Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau, in the midst of an expedition that would eventually span thousands of miles. The couple's life after the expedition was less well chronicled and has become partly enshrouded in myth, with later accounts often debating Charbonneau's character and the exact nature of their relationship. Between 1906 and 1916, newspapers all over the country were filled with articles about the marriage of Ella Mae Clemens, a white woman, and Wang Sun-yue, a Chinese immigrant. Ella Mae was born in Montezuma, Illinois, 1850s. She had been living and working in San Francisco's Chinatown since the late 1890s. She ran a kindergarten for Chinese children and even managed a Catholic mission in the neighborhood. When the devastating 1906 earthquake and fire struck, she jumped in to help with the cleanup. That's when she met Wang Sun-yue, a Chinese merchant who had come to America in 1894. White Chinese interracial marriage was illegal in California at the time, following the amendment of 1894 anti-miscegenation laws in California in 1880. After the earthquake, Ella Mae and Wang Sun-yue went on to run a curio store and tea shop in Chinatown, promoting their enterprise through a series of real photo postcards that captured the intrigue of their mixed heritage. A bold venture that captured the public's imagination and defied the strict racial rules of the time. Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.